Bless me. Take that. Strength.
You are nothing but a locust. You will.
I'm not ready. A minor setback. What? How? Get up. Get up. Let me show you. No.
Hello, I'm playing Titan. As you can see in the clips, what I used to beat all the bosses and clear the campaign was a Molten Strike, skill gems first, what I was using. So first, I was using the default auto attack, and when I'm bossing to build stun buildup, I'm using Overpower, which causes 50% more stun buildup. I'm using Ruthless, every 5th attack, 500% more stun buildup, so just more stun. And then Martial Tempo, because it's just a multiplier for more attack speed, so that's going to be more stun buildup right there. And when I'm not, I will socket in Armor Explosion, which supported skills trigger an explosion when you fully break an enemy's armor. But then we also have Devastate. Supported skills break armor when inflicting a heavy stun. So whenever I inflict a heavy stun with my Mace Strike, this will cause Armor Explosion to go off. And that basically just means an AoE. And then on top of that, I also have a Herald of Ash, which basically just a support gem, which causes enemies to ignite and explode when you deal overkill damage. And that is basically adding to my AoE / like trash damage right there. And what I'm using for single target is Perfect Strike. And this is where I get into my bossing. So you'll see me like switch gems out. So I'll just like switch between the two. So I get my default to build my stun meter buildup. And then I will hit them with Perfect Strike. And as you read here, Perfect Strike is a strike skill. So you have to charge it up and hit basically like a perfect window. And with that, you will see here that if you hit a Perfect Strike, converts 80% of physical damage to fire damage, plus 14 to melee strike range, while dual wielding both weapons hit with 30% less damage. And basically right here, when I'm triggering the ignite that happens when you Perfect Strike, it will always ignite. And therefore, that will continue to burn. And we're trying to scale that. So it's not necessarily like we're trying to scale the initial hit damage, but on top of that, we're also trying to scale the ignite. That honestly will do a lot of the damage. You'll see me hit bosses for like 50k, even 90k, and then it'll continue to burn to like 140k ish. So far, I haven't spec'd into the passive tree to prolong ignite duration, but anytime I prolong ignite duration, if it's doing 50,000 damage, 15% of that, so that's going to be 7.5k. Right there. So I have Hourglass socketed in, so supported skills do 40% more damage. That's a multiplier, so it's a 1.4 multiplier. But it's 10-second cooldown because that's fine. Like I'm not hitting the boss every single time. I have to build stun build up to knock him and then use this one attack. Afterwards, Eternal Flame. This is very important for the build. This is what you need first thing when you get Perfect Strike in Act 2. When you're in Act 2, supported skills have 100% increase ignite duration on enemies. So this is what will be your boss killer for you. Doesn't matter for less chance of ignite because we're using Perfect Strike. So if you Perfect Strike an enemy, it's going to do a ton of damage and it's going to ignite anyways. It's perfect. It's guaranteed. You do not need to spec into ignite chance. And window of opportunity. So basically this just makes it harder to hit our Perfect Strike. So our Perfect Strike no longer is as easy to hit. But honestly, after a few tries, like you'll understand it. You'll see this like glowing effect that will happen on your weapon or like a flash, and it'll be also an audio cue. I just look for the glowing, to be honest. There's so much stuff happening that it's kind of hard to tell. And yeah, supported skills deal 50% more damage when released with perfect timing, so that's another multiplier. Going into the next few acts, I will try to scale this. I will try to get more sockets, and I will try to add, I believe that gem is, let me see if I can find it for you. It is not Fire Mastery, it is Searing Flame. This is the next skill gem that I want to socket on my Ignite. Supported skills deal 25% less damage with hits. That doesn't necessarily matter as much, but 75% more magnitude of Ignite inflicted with supported skills. So magnitude basically just increases that Ignite we have. So yeah, read this. The magnitude of a buff or debuff are the values of the stats that applies to target. A buff or debuff with higher magnitudes is more powerful. Modifiers to the magnitude or buffs, debuffs come wherever it applies are multiplicative with modifiers to the effect the buff. So basically, this is just going to be a larger multiplier, 70% more ignite damage of afflicted with supported skills. So that damage that you see right there, it's just going to continue to burn, but it's just going to burn and deal more damage, 75% more ignite damage. And yeah, that's kind of the plans going in so far. Going into the next 3 acts, I think I'll try to add more skills on my default, just kind of like 2 more damage, more AoE, and go from there. Currently, right now, I'm running Stampede, and I will socket my armor explosion and Devastate. I was kind of playing around with that, trying to do AoE with the auto attack, but honestly, I kind of prefer the auto attack than a Stampede. I feel like it takes too long to start up, and then I will just die. And that's one of the things I am running into this character. But my passive tree, it's not anything special. I expect into for ascendancy, your hits are crushing blows, so this will be a heavy stun anytime you stun an enemy. And then next, surprising strength, 50% more damage multiplier, 1.4 multiplier against heavy stun enemies. So these two together, if you're taking crushing blows, you should take surprising strength. From here, this is my skill tree. So I do have some fire nodes spec'd into, but I feel like it's pretty much a basic two-handed warrior. Like everybody's taking the singular purpose, 40% increased damage with two-handed weapons. I'm running a two-handed weapon right now. 25% of increased armor, 50% of base armor from equipment also added to stun threshold. So this is just good, helps you with stun. It increases your armor. Took this as well. More armor for my body. Relentless, more armor, a little bit of regeneration plus strength. Up here is where it's a little bit different. I decided to take these nodes because I'm running Perfect Strike with Ignite. So this adds more fire damage. So that's the conversion of the fire damage of the initial hit. So that's just more damage there. Well, it's an increase, so it's not a multiplier. Damage penetration. Damage penetration for resistance is key. In Path of Exile 1, if you could penetrate armor, or, well, you couldn't really penetrate armor in PoE 1, but penetrating fire resistance in PoE 1 or any type of resistance allows you to do more damage. And I'll show you right here on the penetration. Penetration causes a specified amount to be subtracted from the target's corresponding resistance when terminating with damage they take from a hit to a minimum of 0. Since penetration only affects hits and applies to the target's defensive stats rather than their own defensive stats, it does not affect damage with elements. Yeah. And then right here, final one, increased fire damage, penetration 10% this time, and 10% increased magnitude of ignite you inflict. So this right here, 10% increased magnitude, so we're increasing magnitude of ignite. That's just more damage on the ignite itself. From here, just generic strength, just trying to get like more attributes. Here, like more damage, more stun buildup. Here, over here is just more damage against heavy stun enemies. And then I took a little bit of aftershock. This I'm kind of playing with. I'm not sure if I need it because there's 10% chance to aftershock 4 strike skills when using maces, but honestly, I don't know if I saw an aftershock effect from Perfect Strike, because it does say it is a strike skill, and it should be able to aftershock, which means it can hit twice, but I don't think I've saw that so far. I'm not sure if that's working. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it has worked and I just haven't noticed it, but so far that's what I have noticed for myself. And then that on the tree, I've spec'd into fire penetration. So, more damage right here. Increased stun build-up, damage penetrates, 5% fire resistance. And then last one, hits a heavy stun, inflict fire exposure. So fire exposure just allows you to basically do more damage with your ailment type. So for me, I'm using Ignite Fire, so I'm just going to do more damage with that. Yeah, by default, it inflicts -20 to the specified resistance and lasts for 4 seconds, though some sources of exposure can override these values. So yeah, this, I believe, just allows me to do more damage. And from here, I've kind of noticed that I've run into an issue with tankiness. I just haven't geared properly. So I have spec'd into this node, Made to Last. This has helped with my tankiness. 15% of physical damage prevented, recouped as life. This has helped. These are generic armor nodes. I do plan to go for this next, so more armor, But from here, I don't know what to do from Act 1 through 3. I have thought about speccing into Rage because I have saw some nodes on the tree that allows you to get more armor per Rage and also stun threshold. And maybe this would allow me to spec out of some of the stun nodes. Maybe I could spec out of this because I do have plenty of damage, and later on try to scale, I don't know, maybe more ignite, more fire. I don't know. I haven't really fully fleshed it out. But up here with Rage, I have thought about going into using Rage. So gain 2 Rage on hit, and this keystone right here, Vengeful Fury, gain 5 Rage when hit by an enemy. Every range grants 1% increased armor. And if you look on the tree, I believe I've saw some people get to like 40 Rage. Yeah, right here, +8 maximum Rage, +2, so that's 10, 12, 14. And then is this an additive one? No, but just gain 3 Rage. But it looks like in PoE 2, it looks like it's going to be pretty easy to build Rage. Yeah, there's another maximal Rage, so I think that's going to be +20 if I grab that one. I do not believe this one is a plus maximum. No, it's not plus maximum. No. This one, no, this is not a plus maximum. But I think with these nodes and Rage support, let's see if I can find it. No, not Rage. Let's type in. I believe that there is a way to, for attacks with 10 Rage, causing attacks with power, deal more damage. Yeah, and I feel like with scaling Rage and scaling armor, I can find a way to socket this in my build to do even more damage. Yeah. It's just some ideas I've thought about, because if I could build 20 Rage pretty instantly, because you get hit in this game all the time, I can use this to deal more damage. Maybe I'm looking at this wrong, but these are just some of the ideas I've thought about. I'll let you know in the future acts. But I do want to play with the Rage nodes. If that hasn't worked or something else has come out about how to be more tanky, I'll show that, but these are just kind of preliminary ideas. My gear, nothing special. I got a pretty good weapon, honestly. I found this from the vendor. It was a blue item at first with the 96 increased fizz, and I bought that immediately because I think it not quite doubled my damage, but I had a pretty bad two-hander before in Act 1 through 2, and I was having a really rough time in Act 2, honestly. So I found this, had a really high fizz roll, and then I augmented it, got the fire damage, regaled it, caught lightning, and I was like, filled up my prefixes, and then I just exalted it, not knowing that my prefix was full. I just didn't even realize that. And then I got the life per enemy killed. But yeah, I added a artificial rune to add a rune socket to it, and that's where I got the increased fizz damage. So I'll probably use this, honestly, probably till the next 3 acts, unless I can find something better. Like, I'm already dealing 90k. I'm already dealing a good amount of damage. So far, everything else is my gear pretty bad. Just trying to go for like life and resistances and armor where I can. Yep, I know this is bad, really bad amulet. I haven't found hardly any amulets in this game so far. Rings, just trying to get resistance on them. I know this is a bad ring. Armor, got a plus spirit, so this is where I socketed other support gems to it. So beyond just Herald of Ash, I use Scavenge Plating as well down here. So this is just picking up armor. So if I'm exploding the map, I'm always going to have like maximum 10 Scavenge Plating. So that's why I have that. And then just generic armor and just a little bit of resistance. It's not much. This one I've had on since Act 1. I haven't found any rare pair of gloves, which I've liked so far. I haven't found anything with resistances or like max life, and I've just kept this. This will be the first thing I change in my build. Belt, very generic. I haven't found anything good. I want to find something with like an armor belt, a plate belt, and then find resistances. This one, very generic, just found it. Pretty much just got it for the fire res and armor and a little bit of life regen. Stun threshold, I don't think I've noticed anything helpful. And yeah, that's pretty much a generic build. Blast, nothing special. Just grab charm. I've noticed that lightning damage and the shock hasn't bothered my build the most. And that is what I'm lacking in. the most too. So my lightning damage is only 4%.
Don't want to start a fight.
And this has helped me out the most with the lightning res. Other than that, like nothing too special about the build. Those are some of my preliminary plans. I would like feedback to see if anybody has any ideas on how to make my build more tanky, and if going rage is the right way to go. Because personally right now, I do not know how to make it more tanky. Like if I just keep stacking armor, will that actually make me more tanky? Currently right now I have 62% armor, but the reality is I need more resistances. Like if I could get my resistances up there, then yeah, I'm not going to have as much issues if I get all my resistance up. But like so far, it's been really hard to do so. So mitigation in this game, I found has been really hard. I'm sure everybody else has been dying, but you're also melee, so you're going to be getting hit a lot. Like there's no way of avoiding that. And I've thought about maybe I need to go into block chance too as well. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's going the right way. Maybe I just simply start stacking strength as much as I can. There's a node called Titanic, 5% increased strength, but I don't have a high strength pool to begin with. And I'm already having a hard time staying survivable, so I don't know if it's going to be reasonable for me to look for attributes on my gear that's going to be taking up an affix being strength, and then I also have to find resistances on top of that. So I don't know if that's the way to go, or if I should just try to go with res and then try to get my rage and just increase my armor as much as I can and get my physical reduction down, or what the move is. I don't think ailment avoidant on this tree is going to be possible. I don't know what all the affixes look like, and I don't know how strong the rolls are to get ailment avoidant. Maybe that's something I will look into later. But the goal with this, after I ascend into very late game, that's going to take a very long time, is I want to go for hulking form. Hulking form, 50% increase of small passive skills will be massive. That will be so much better. So every strength node that you see here is going to go to 7. And all these small nodes is going to be a 1.5 multiplier. So they don't round up in this game. So if it says 5 or something like that, it'll be 7.5. But it's not going to go to 8. It's going to round down. In PoE, they don't round up, they round down in terms of benefits.